I'm Stephanie Aiken. Straight ahead on WVU News, I'll tell you which popular household cleaning supply could be dangerous to keep under your roof. That story coming up next.
Is gas costing you a fortune? I'm Lindsay Cobb, and coming up on WVU News, I'll tell you some ways you can save at the pump.
People rush to class, work, and the grocery store, but there's a place they're not so eager to go. I'm Mariah Lee, and I'll tell you the place citizens are avoiding and why. Our award-winning newscast starts now.
Could your child's school lunch be making them sick? Find out what steps are being taken to make sure your kids are healthier. I'm Angelica Trenone.
And I'm Lindsay Cobb. Does your vote really count? We'll tell you why the U.S. has one of the lowest voter turnouts in the world. That and more on this week's edition of WVU News, an award-winning newscast produced by television journalism students here at West Virginia University.
Joining us now in the studio, WVU News reporter Mariah Lee.
She recently spoke with voters about the upcoming presidential election. Mariah?
Thanks, Angelica and Lindsay. Are you registered to vote? If not, you could be overlooking a great opportunity to make a real difference. Studies show that only 38% of the country turned out for the election held in 2010. With such low voter numbers, it's easy how you can see that only a handful of votes could change history. I recently visited the courthouse to find out why voting is so important in the upcoming presidential election. The 2008 national election set records for voter turnout, but not here in West Virginia. Only 53% of West Virginians cast their vote. That's 10% below the national average. 19-year-old Brian Adams is part of this trend. He isn't registered because he believes his ballot won't affect the results.
No, I don't think that every vote counts. I mean, it really takes a lot of votes to elect somebody. I don't think one individual vote would make too much of a difference.
But Mon County Clerk Carrie Blaney says that every vote is important. It can change the results of a local election.
We've had several elections in Montague County that have been decided by a handful of votes, and so every vote does count.
Registering to vote is now easier than before. The county clerk's office is located in the courthouse right here behind me. You can also register at your local DMV, military recruiting office, and even online. Monongalia County resident Ellis Burgess says he won't be staying at home on election day because the right to vote is a privilege.
It is important for people to vote because people died and fought for you to have the right to vote, and for you to do anything less is disrespectful of their sacrifice.
And with the debate heating up between presidential candidates, every vote counts.
But when you have multiple people thinking that their vote does not count, it turns into hundreds and thousands of votes that are never counted, and then you never know what those people thought.
And if you're still not convinced that every vote counts, consider this. In 1824, John Quincy Adams won the presidential election by one vote. If you're not registered to vote and need information on how to register, you can visit the website at the bottom of your screen.
With the presidential election around the corner, could the gas prices influence how people vote in the upcoming election?
It just might, Angelica. Morgantown drivers are paying nearly $4 a gallon for gas. I recently found out what you can do to save money at the pump.
Gas prices are up 16 cents from this time last year, and the result is causing a big change at the pump for Morgantown drivers.
$200, $250 a month.
Probably about $50.
It's killing my pocket, I'll say that much.
While prices stay high, here are a few tips to save on gas every day. The American Automobile Association, or AAA, says the right amount of air in tires can improve fuel efficiency by 3%. Each vehicle's proper tire pressure is found on the driver's side door jamb.
AAA reports only 17% of cars' tires are properly inflated, but putting air in your tires is as easy as unscrewing a cap and pumping in the air.
The Department of Energy says being an aggressive driver by speeding up quickly or slamming on the brakes can lower a car's fuel economy by 33%.
I mean, I sometimes fill it with regular if I'm like paying with quarters. It just depends.
I try and just cut down by riding the bus as much as I can.
I don't go very many places.
If you can't afford to stay put, follow some simple rules to make your gas money and car go farther.
For information on the cheapest gas prices in your local area, you can visit the website www.gasbuddy.com.
From cutting back on prices at the pump to cutting back on calories in your child's lunch at school, the USDA is stepping in to raise the health standards of school lunches nationwide. Studies show that 14% of children in West Virginia are obese, and because of that, Monongalia County schools are looking to team up with local farmers who would grow food that would be used exclusively for local area schools. Doctors say that a child's mental development can be hindered by poor nutrition, and teaching kids about healthy eating is vital for proper development.
With the schools trying to make sure that your child is eating healthy, there are some things that you need to know to make sure your child is not eating.
That's right, Lindsay. WVU News consumer reporter Stephanie Aiken joins us now in the studio with more on a product that can be harmful to your child's health. Stephanie?
Thanks, Angelica and Lindsay. Parents beware. Children have found a new toxic temptation. I recently found out why parents should be cautious when buying a common household item. Gel detergent packs are small, affordable, but also dangerous. The U.S. Poison Center received hundreds of calls this year from parents of small children who had mistaken the colorful packs for edible treats. Allison Contick is a new mom and stopped using these packs when she found out they could be a danger to her son.
It's easier just not to worry about that, worry about him getting into those. So I've started using just regular liquid detergent.
Officials say swallowing these packs could cause severe respiratory and internal injuries to children.
When they ingest them, there's a chance they may inhale them in their lungs, which could be very irritating. They can start coughing. It's very irritating to their stomach, in which case they may have nausea, they may vomit.
These gel detergent packs are hassle-free and easy to use. Just take out a pack and put it in the dishwasher. But is the convenience worth the risk? Condick says the best thing you can do to protect your child is to keep up on all the latest medical news.
There's a lot of things out there that you would think are bad that actually aren't, and there's a lot of things out there that you would think are good that actually aren't. So there's a lot of information online or in books.
Nearly 250 cases of children swallowing these gel packets have been reported to the U.S. Poison Center this year, concerning both doctors and parents. The American Association of Poison Control recommends that you keep all detergents locked up, out of the reach of children, and always follow the disposal instructions on the label. The National Poison Control Hotline is at the bottom of your screen.
Thanks for that report, Stephanie. There are many other ways to make sure your child stays safe. One way is teaching them how to defend themselves. Coming up on WVU News, Dan Matarazzo explains how martial arts is helping one child build a stronger bond with his father.
That's right, Angelica. And also coming up on WVU News, sports reporter Jamie McCracken tells us how the Mountaineer balances a busy schedule on top of cheering on the Gold and Blue.
I'm Jamie McCracken, and coming up on WVU Sports, I'll tell you how the Mountaineer mascot prepares himself to run out of that tunnel each and every game day.
Our hearts beat in the face of challenge, for without it, there is nothing. No character, no grit, no goals. Without challenge, there can be nothing. No discovery, no knowledge, no cures. For us, the challenge is everything. Without it, there can be no Mountaineers.
Over the years, few have had the opportunity to don the leather buckskin of the Mountaineer.
That's right, Angelica. The Mountaineer mascot has been an ongoing tradition for 88 years. This year, the honor belongs to Jonathan Kimball. We'll see how he prepares to give his all to cheer on the Mountaineers.
Since becoming the Mountaineer mascot 5 months ago, Jonathan Kimball's life has changed drastically.
You're right, Angelica. WVU sports reporter Jamie McCracken spent a day in the life of the Mountaineer. Jamie?
Thanks, Angelica and Lindsay. Jonathan Kimball has to focus on balancing his life now more than ever. He wears many hats in his busy day-to-day life, and one of them just so happens to be made of coonskin. But Jonathan seems to be enjoying every second of his busy schedule. And why not? He's been flying all over the country, shooting commercials for ESPN and living his childhood dream. There it is, the moment Jonathan Kimball will never forget, running out of the tunnel and leading the WVU football team onto the field. But like so many athletes, it's off the field, where the Mountaineer puts in all the hard work.
Being in the Mountaineer is a full-time job, and with that I'm also a grad student, I work a part-time job, and I just got married. And so it takes a lot of time of planning, make sure I have a good balance.
Waking up at 6 a.m. for a workout at the football stadium is part of that balance. Now, as you can see, Jonathan flipping this 500-pound tire. He does this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6:30 a.m. right here at the football stadium. Jonathan has already gained 15 pounds from his vigorous workouts throughout the 4 months that he's been the Mountaineer so far. And even though the workouts are exhausting, Jonathan has to prepare for all those push-ups during the football season. But cheering on the Mountaineers is the easy part.
Whenever I'm at a sporting event, you know, the crowd needs a little pick 'em up. I go right into the cheers and let's go Mountaineers and get the crowd fired up.
His wife thinks he's crazy, but it's something Jonathan has wanted to do since he was a child.
She comes to WVU and she's kind of in culture shock that everywhere she goes, everybody wears blue and gold. They wear the WVU and people are just so passionate about this school.
If you ask Jonathan, he believes he's just one of the athletes. The only difference is his jersey is made of buckskins. Jonathan has already attended over 200 non-athletic events and made some new mascot friends along the way. His favorite is Pistol Pete from Oklahoma State, who he met at Big 12 Media Days. Lindsay and Angelica, back to you.
Thanks, Jamie. Just watching all that stuff Jonathan has to do makes me proud to be a Mountaineer.
You said it, Angelica. Speaking of working out, a new form of exercise not only offers a good workout, but also teaches self-defense. WVU News reporter Daniel Matarazzo has more.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a martial art that centers around grappling and ground fighting. Bradley Bouillon, a father and former Marine, was looking for an activity that he could share with his 7-year-old son Carter.
We tried a couple different mixed martial arts, and he fell in love with Jiu-Jitsu, and we found Ground Zero and feel like a family now.
Ground Zero Fighting Systems has approximately 70 students, and Jiu-Jitsu instructor Josh Fowler says the most rewarding part about teaching is having his pupils surpass him.
As you get older, it happens more and more. But yeah, just knowing that I'm helping people do something fun, that's a healthy activity, and that it's something that they can go on to excel at.
The armbar is a high percentage submission used by mixed martial artists all over the world.
Getting a new hobby to share with his son wasn't the only positive side effect Jiu-Jitsu had on Bouillon's life.
Well, I was 320 pounds, and now I'm about 270, and definitely changed that way. Also, I was a smoker, and after the first night of training Jiu-Jitsu, I quit and hadn't touched it since.
In front of the camera, Carter's nervousness showed, but once he hit the mats, his anxiety lifted and his love for Jiu-Jitsu became fully visible. Daniel Matarazzo, WVU News, Morgantown.
That's great that a father and son can spend some time together and stay in shape at the same time. Well, that wraps up this week's WVU News. Remember to visit us online at our website at the bottom of your screen.
You can watch all of our broadcasts on YouTube. Just search for WVU News. You can also follow all of our reporters on Twitter. I'm Lindsay Cobb.
And I'm Angelica Trenone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again here on WVU News.